what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Creative Mind. I'm your host, Byron Craig, and today on the podcast, we have the man who's responsible for the Luka Doncic trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. He wears this moniker proudly. He is my friend. He's a singer. He's a songwriter. We'll talk about all his amazing journey through his career. But most importantly, we want to talk about Luka Doncic trade rumors. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you my friend, my brother, Troy Grant.
Yo, yo, yo. What's good?
What's good, fam?
All right. So about the Luka thing, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. It's not my fault. It happened at the shop I work at, and I could have stopped it. Rob Pelinka was like trying to meet with somebody, and I didn't know it was Nico Harris. I don't know. The dude looks so regular. Nico Harrison looks like so freaking regular, like a regular dude. And he's probably been in my shop a bunch of times, and I just did not know. But they were chopping it up, and my boss, I put a sticker on the table they were sitting at that said Luka was traded here, that my bosses maybe took away for, and I quote, too much commotion.
Dang.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
But whatever. But that's not my fault.
No.
If I had known, I would have stopped that. Well, no, I'm a LeBron fan. I can't really say I would have stopped that.
Bro, we're not even going to get into that. Nah, fam. Well, I mean, again, LeBron is great. He's amazing. But Luka was a generational talent.
Every team deserves their guy. So, like, the fact that, like, we lost our guy, like, here is annoying. Like, I'm a Spurs fan, actually. And so, like, if Wemby, like, I followed Wemby from when he was 17. I was just, like, I was praying for Wemby. Like, actually. Yeah. So, I can't imagine. If Wemby, never mind. I'm not going to even go down that path.
We already know in a few years, Wemby's going to leave. When Popovich leaves, Wemby's like, peace, y'all. I love y'all.
You know what? That's fine. But if we get at least one chip or an upset of somebody who's supposed to win in the playoffs, I would love that.
Fair enough. I did honestly enjoy that you had like a photo of Nico and Rob Pelinka talking. It's amazing.
It was a photo, and then I also had a video, and it was funny because at the time, the original caption on the video was somebody tell Rob we need a center. That's not what I meant.
Dang.
I didn't mean give our center away. Again, for Luka. So, yeah, bad trade on y'all's end. I don't know how that actual malpractice. So
very bad. I don't know how the NBA just didn't just go, no. But
apparently, according to Adam Silver, which I do not believe, he had no idea.
Lies.
I think he was taking a lot of heat for All-Star Weekend sucking.
Yep.
And so he just didn't want to like also say, I knew about the Luka trade.
I knew, and I just let it go anyway. But alas, here we are. A few weeks passed and still very somber here in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. They play the 28th. I'm not looking forward to that day. Like people have been coming in, taking pictures with the table, and it's been like really funny. So I know that's going to happen on that day.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous. But hey, alas, we're here. Bro, I want to thank you for being here as always. I appreciate it. Dude, let's get into you. You're a singer. You're a songwriter. You're an amazing singer. You play the guitar. I mean, dude, you do it all. Like, where did that start? Where did your love of music come from?
A few places. I was really heavy in the choir growing up. Not because I really liked it. My mom was definitely the one pushing me. So I'm Troy Jr. My dad played some pro football back in the day. And
really?
Yeah, and so I was kind of like, set up to be the prodigy. But by set up, I mean just in name only, because I got none of the skill at all. And honestly, I just didn't understand the game of football like at all. Yeah. Like my dad. So I'm not kidding. There's a Kevin Hart story with this exact same punchline, but I cannot make up that this is exactly what happened. My dad used to have me in little league football. He was coaching. It was like right after right after he got out of the league. So he probably trying to relive the glory days or something. I don't know what's happening.
Of course.
But he was having me and we're just playing flag football. It was fine. And I was the kid who, down said, Hut, I thought I was Spider-Man. So I was like, why would I run for that flag when I can just and get it right now? And I didn't know, like, it didn't work. And so I was telling them straight up, like, hey, Dad, we didn't refill my web shooters. Like, that's the only reason why it didn't work. And I remember I literally remember the only flag I ever got, because I just rose it up in the air and it wasn't even the guy who had the ball. So I was just like, I was really bad at sports, but I played all until about my sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
And I was bad. I was bad. But my mom was really big on pushing me into doing choir, singing. The way my elementary school worked was they wouldn't let you in if you weren't a fourth grader. And I was like I auditioned to get in first grade year. They didn't let me in, but I got in second grade year. And so I was all through choir doing that. And honestly, I had some really good choir teachers. And I just really, showcases. I had no like semblance of, again, I'm the kid who's just, so I had no semblance of like, stage fright or like anything like that. So I just loved doing it. My mom was definitely pushing me towards it, but it wasn't until, my mom passed away when I was, 14 in a car accident.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
And it's all right. We're good and we're whole now. But it was definitely a long journey to get there. And it was kind of one of those things where I had known that she had wanted this for me, not because, she wanted me to, she would always, we would watch American Idol together and stuff like that. And she'd be like, you're going to go on there. But she wasn't doing that because of that. It was literally, she would just see the fact that I was, pining for some kind of like love for my family. And my dad never pushed me to do, any kind of like sports or anything. They were very supportive in whatever I did. My dad's just philosophy was that I couldn't quit. So the problem was I would get halfway through and then I'd be wanting to quit. And he's like, we don't quit. So, and I took that, just being young, I took that as like, oh, he wants me to be in sports. He's like, no, I bought all this equipment and these cleats. You gonna do this. You gonna do these sports.
Facts.
So I get it now, but looking back, it was just, I thought that there was, this pressure on me to be somebody I wasn't. And my mom really pushed that. But when she passed, I remember, my church used to do this, competition called Fine Arts. And I was, she had just convinced me to do the district round of it, and I made it to the national round, which was in Orlando, Florida that year. And when we were out there, that's when the car accident happened, and I was gonna come back, but everybody in my family was pretty dead set on like, she wouldn't want you to quit. She would want you to come home. We'll handle all that. Like, the day you come back will be the day we'll have the funeral. So just stay out there, do your thing. Didn't even place, didn't even get close, but it was one of those, I really just needed to stay just to like prove to myself I could like see this thing out and do it. And from there, honestly, I think 2 weeks after that, I did a competition out here in Dallas. It was actually, hilariously enough, it's at Gillies.
Wow.
Yeah. It was at Gillies, which I always make the comparison that like I have the blessing of being able to sing at Gillies like every week, and my career literally started there.
Wow.
And I did this competition at Gillies called Texas Top 10, and they didn't even really do it again after that. But it was a lot of fun. They did like, it was like acting, singing, dancing, and I placed in the dancing and got really good in the singing category. The acting, I just barely not made the top 10. I was like 11 or 12 or something like that. But it was a really good experience. Kind of taught me I was around other creatives. It was the first time I really like felt like I belonged. The great thing about being in sports was like even though I sucked, like a lot of the linebackers loved me. Like, so they always adopted me as little bro. but
Yeah.
like not like in the like get on the field kind of way, just like, you know, hand me my water bottle kind of way.
Dang, not them bullying you.
Nah, I was getting bullied. Never mind.
Yeah.
But it was fine. It was fine. It was great. But that taught me to like, you know, kind of be friends with everybody, and anybody. But that was the first time I really was around like other creatives, and I really enjoyed that. So from there it was my mom wanted us to go to Trinity Christian out here in Cedar Hill. And my dad was, you know, and kind of a like final thing to do for her. He got us all enrolled there. And from there I found Jesus. And I kind of just dove headfirst into that because my mom had gotten saved in the later part of her life. So I kind of just picked up whatever she was doing at the end, which happened to be God. And it was great. So from there, I just literally dove into that, did that. It was worship, and then some more worship. And that's all I ever did. And, you know, I write my own music, kind of love songs. Sometimes I'll delve into some worship. I really like writing in any kind of genre. I feel like that keeps you versatile as an artist.
Absolutely.
And when I say any, Jason got me on this because I said any genre, and he was like, he's like, you out here writing just, you know, bubblegum pop rap or something like that. And I was like, no, not that. Like, I ain't writing no hardcore rap. But for the most part, I write almost any genre. And that kept me really like rooted, and it was a lot of fun. And from there, I just that was it through high school. It was just I was the worship team guy. So
worship team.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it. There was definitely a period of and we'll get into it at some point, but there was definitely a period where I kind of had to step away because it was a little bit too dove headfirst and didn't really take the time to heal from, you know, my mom's passing.
Yeah.
And had to do that and had to kind of like take a step back. And I think that's one of the things I definitely am very grateful to our church for
sure.
Is because I kind of used social as like a way to not just fall back in love with God, fall back in love with serving. That's why I started on the coffee team before I even got close to even touching any kind of worship stuff.
Yeah.
Because even though I'd done that for so long, it was really wanting to find the heart of getting back to why I love like serving people, doing things for people. I love hyping people up. I love being somebody's cheerleader. I'm definitely been in situations where I felt like I should have been more forefront than I was. And because of that, I feel like God allows me to see other people that aren't getting like the shine and the recognition they deserve.
For sure.
And, you know, I think the best way to do that is just to meet people where they're at and kind of just like be like, hey, you're awesome. You're cool. Because I didn't really get a lot of that. And I get a lot of that now, and I really do appreciate it. But for a long time, it was very like I had to only get my validation from me and God. And I think that is very healthy, but sometimes you want to hear it from, you know, the people around you. And I think that's really important that people get their own cheerleader.
Absolutely. One thing I will say, you are the consummate cheerleader. Dude, also, you should be a comedian because you're hilarious. But yeah, I fully agree with you. Like, you are like, I mean, I always see you hyping up other people, whether it's like somebody in the back of a room or just, I mean, you and Duffy, y'all are like the consummate hype people.
Duffy's my guy. I love that dude so much. I literally told him yesterday that I've only known him for like 6 to 8 months, somewhere along those lines. And I feel like I've known him my entire life. I don't really believe in past lives like that, but we were definitely like brothers in a past life somewhere.
Of course. Duffy's awesome. Shout out to Duffy.
Shout out Duffy.
Big shout out. Man, like, I mean, I've never lost a parent, and I know people who have, and like when you said that you went through a competition and you just kind of like dove head first, I was going to ask you, because I don't want to therapize you. I'm not a therapist, but like, I'm more just interested, like, what was that healing journey? Because I mean, to lose a parent, like lose a father, that's one thing, but to lose like a mom, that's a completely different experience.
Yeah. The big thing is I'm the oldest of, at the time, 5. My dad is very blessedly remarried and has he's remarried and that's great. And I love my new siblings, which now and then they just had a baby, which now makes me the oldest of 8.
Lord Jesus.
Yeah. My dad needs a TV. Or something, a hobby.
You need
or
a
something.
hobby, sir.
I tell him all the time, like, you didn't, he actually gets me with it too. Cause I'll be like, you didn't put a TV in your room. He's like, I tried. It didn't work.
Sir,
but
the Lord said, be fruitful and multiply, but 8.
So what's funny is we visited, when my mom was pregnant with the very last one, we visited our home church in San Antonio and they made them stand up. And the pastor there, he was like, they got one scripture memorized. It's just that one. And it's true. Like there was my parents, there was 3 of us. So it was me and my sister. And then we had my brother about 5 years after that. And then there was a little bit of a gap. And then they had 2 back to back. And from there, like, and I would say back to back, I mean, like, I will never forget finding out my little brother Tyrell, which was the last one from my mom, was coming. We were like making sandwiches. And like we were about to go run around it in some sprinklers because, you know, we ain't had no pool. But they made me feel like we ain't had no pool. That's why I was like, it's like what my parents never made me feel like I was without. I'll say certain stuff and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "What? You didn't run around in the sprinklers? I don't know what to tell you." It was fun.
I love it.
And so we were getting ready to do that, and we were making sandwiches, and my mom goes, "Hey, I have something to tell you." And my little sister goes, "You're pregnant." And I was, no, that's not the story. I said, "You're pregnant." And my sister goes, "No, he's kidding." And then my mom was just silent. Dang. And then she was like, "He's kidding, right?" And my sister went outside. And like sat on the front porch and just like contemplated like she wasn't 11. Like it was like, yo, it's not that bad. You're fine.
Struggles.
But yeah, no, it was definitely a lot of us, and it was great, but it was a hot minute. But back to that is I was the oldest. And from there, it was kind of like, even on the phone when I was in Florida and my dad called me to tell me what had happened, I kind of, looking back, like I jumped straight to I think the first things out of my mouth was like, "What do you need? What do we got to do? Like, do I need to get a job?" And I got a job. Like I immediately, not immediately, I think I waited about a year-ish. But because I was 14 when it happened, it was in August. My birthday was September, so I turned 15 right after that. And then I think I waited a little bit longer, and then I got a job right after that. And I was just, you know, I was the one in the family that like I was always going to work, doing my thing, and I was also doing the worship team thing all the time. Like I would like to say I was a pretty good kid. Like I snuck out the house one time, and I was to go to church, and that was because I was on team, and you wasn't about to ground me. Hold
on. We're not just gonna skip past. You snuck out the house not to go meet a girl. You snuck out the house to go to church.
So hear me out. Here's my thought process. I had if I got caught, I had my response loaded. I was like, you know what? You right. I'm gonna go sell drugs. Like that's where I was at. That's where I was at. I was like, if he catches me, that's okay. And I've told him actually since then. Yeah. Like, hey, yo, I snuck out the house one time and it was to go to church. And he shouldn't have left. Like, he knew I was gonna leave. I don't know why he did that. I told him, I was like, I'm on team. What? I'm singing tonight. Like, what you want me to do?
Not worship Jesus? Yeah. Not do that?
Exactly. You're not about to fight me on that.
Take that up with the Lord, sir. Troy Sr. Take it up with him.
So from there, it was just like I just worked, and that was kind of just what I did. And going from there to, you know, hold on, I'm trying to think. Cut this part out. I lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. We're not gonna cut it. It's all good.
No, but yeah. So from there, it was just a matter of like, that was just my responsibility. I took that on. And even at the time, honestly, until like at 26 now, I just like really realized what it was like. I mean, what it means to be an older brother. But at that time, it was just like, that was my job. Big bro was was just my job. And now I take it with a lot of stride, but I definitely like had a little bit of resentment towards that because I didn't really get like the quote unquote high school life. You know, I wasn't going to parties. I was going to work, and you know, it definitely kept me grounded for sure. But there was a lot of like, when I turned 18, it was a lot of like, I'm gonna go figure out who I am. And I didn't really know who I was at the time. And I didn't do like a whole bunch of crazy crap, but like I definitely was trying to figure that out in a lot of external ways. And it took a while to realize that I did find out who I was. And that was just, I was the worship team guy, and that was okay, you know, and that was fine. And I just had to kind of rope back around to figuring that out. And I think it was definitely beautiful. But like my mom, for lack of a better word, was my best friend. And so it was just hard going on without my best friend. Like it was, I would come home, we would watch Ellen, Family Feud, and I would massage her feet. The feet thing is that was annoying. That was annoying. And I'm gonna be honest, I say all the time, I'll never miss that. I'll never miss that till the day I die. Because that woman, there was see how my thumb is? Her big toe right here. She had just a part. She just loved me to scratch, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It was actual hell, and I'm never going back. But,
you mean you don't massage your wife's feet?
No, for that reason. Like it's an actual point of contention in this household.
Dude, I'm not a feet, like I don't understand the lore of feet and feet fetishes. I don't get it. It don't make no sense. But yeah, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's a real rant of mine that I will go on for a while. But
feet.
I don't do that. So no. but that was really us. Like, and that's really all we did. And losing her was a big part of it. So. But I think the fact that she was very open about like when she was getting saved, when she found Jesus, like that was all, you know, she was about, all she talked about. And like, I still get like the amount of love my mom knew how to show everybody. Like I didn't even realize that I do it now, but she could be friends with everybody and anybody. Like there's a lot of people that like come up to me that from the past that like only knew my mom, and I'd like bring them up to my dad, and my dad would be like, oh, she didn't really like them that much, but they hung around, so she was just friends with them. And my mom was a dance instructor, so like I was sitting in the back of a lot of her dance classes growing up, and you know, you meet, and she would start every thing with every class with a prayer, end every class with a prayer. The song itself might be rough, but we gonna start it like this. And from there, like I met so many people of different walks of life, gay, straight, trans, everything, and like just everybody coming in there to dance, and centered around this woman we love, and we gonna make it about God. And those two things just were all I had to go off of and all I had to look at. And my dad also had like, he was a trainer. So they were kind of hand in foot, I guess, or whatever the word is, hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
Yeah, hand in hand. I don't want hand in foot.
You still thinking about feet? Still thinking about massaging your mom's feet?
I guess so. Hopefully my wife doesn't hear this. She in the back. But yeah, they were hand in hand with that. So my dad was definitely, and still to this day, is like, my dad is cool with literally everybody of all walks of life. And that was just what made sense to me growing up. Just be cool with everybody, love everybody. And it was before it was even taught to me that was, you know, the main, you know, point of the gospel. Like, and so it was just taught to me like that this is how we do. Like, and I absolutely love that.
Man, that's amazing. I'm like, it's really sad. It really bums me out, like, to hear that losing your mom since she was your best friend, like that really hits home. Cause it makes you like, did your relationship with your dad change any after that? Like, I know sometimes for some people it changes.
Yeah, it definitely did. it took a long time for me to come to terms with the fact. So for one, my parents were definitely a balancing act when it came to, like my dad, he is now, but he was not very emotional, like, just being football dude, jock, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. And I was just he calls me his emotional son. Like I'm just, of all of us, I'm the most emotional. And I wear it on my sleeve and it's fine, except Tyrell, he's near the bottom. He definitely gonna give me a run for my money when he gets older. But yeah, it was just, and it was fine at the time. And because I just went to my mom for emotional stuff, and I went to my dad whenever I needed to, be a macho man or whatever it is.
Sure.
And that going away, I did harbor a lot of resentment towards my dad, and it took a while for me to realize it's like I lost my mom, he lost his boo, he lost his best friend, and
of course.
And he was dealing with his own stuff with that, and he, honest to God, at every turn could have he could have dropped us, and no one really would have blamed him, because what are you doing? You're a single parent of 5 kids now. And my dad made great money, but on one salary for 5 kids, it's hard to do. And I didn't understand it really, why he was so just attached. I would try and get us to go to family dinner and family da-da-da. And it's not until now where, when I say we're whole again, I really do mean in the sense of the woman of God that has been brought into my family's life, Lacey. Shout out Lacey. And I'm going to send her this and hope she sees it. That she came at a very critical juncture of basically she honestly, she beats herself up sometimes about whether she's doing a good job or not, but she genuinely came in and just showed my dad how to love again. And but unfortunately that didn't happen for almost 10 years. And so dealing with that was really hard to for him and I to understand each other. I really didn't even think my dad was proud of me for a long time. And it wasn't until I played a show at House of Blues, and there's other moments before this that I definitely can look at and be oh yeah, he was definitely proud. Times where I'd do a dance performance at the fine arts competition later on in life, and he got tears in his eyes, but he not trying to say nothing. It wasn't until we played a show at House of Blues. I played a show at House of Blues, and I opened for this bigger artist, and my name was on the door, all that type of stuff. And I remember him just walking around with his phone. He's taking a picture of literally everything. And it wasn't until those moments where I was oh yeah, he's healing. We've always been good. I just didn't think we were. Just being an angsty little teenager, not understanding that my dad was hurting too. And once I finally realized that, it honestly, our relationship now, and it has for a while, it's been great, but honestly, our relationship now, my dad is my dog. And that's one of the things. My dad's a little younger, so he's 45. He's 45. Oh. So I'm 26. So we kind of vibe pretty well. And and my dad is really he is the definition of what it means to be strong, because I love my dad, not because he's perfect, because I've seen him, even through figuring out life, make mistakes, and how he comes out of those has been the thing that's significantly more awe-inspiring to me.
For sure. It's tough to lose a parent, but at the same time, as kids, you're 14 at that time. You don't take in, like you said, you don't take into account he lost his wife. He lost his, he lost his rib. He lost that person who he was raising a family with. That's crazy. Also, just to make myself feel old, because I thought about it, I'm closer to your dad's age than I am to you.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh, rough. What's that? What's that? Kevin Hart? He's
rough.
Oh, you're all right. You're all right.
That's crazy. Sorry.
Hey, and I'll say, I'll say, phenomenal father. Watching you, watching you every Sunday and how you are with your girls is awe-inspiring to me as well.
I appreciate you.
So yeah, I didn't say, not that you were doubting yourself, but you are watching you every Sunday is genuinely a treat. And I want to just make sure I take a moment to say that.
Oh, I really seriously appreciate it. It's hard, man. Like, cause doing it alone, doing it single, it's hard being a single dad of two teenage girls who are wild and, but I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for social. And I'm thankful for you. And I'm thankful for all the people who give me encouragement on the low days where it's like really, really tough.
No, I got you.
Yeah. Man. Also, didn't know that you were a dancer. I mean, obviously, I know that.
Nah. I said I dance. I ain't no dancer.
What's the difference?
So what happened is when my mom passed, that was just kind of what I did that to be closer to her. I had a friend named Omari, who will kill me for calling him Omari, but he's not going to see this, because he goes by Jeff now for no reason.
That's weird. I mean, sorry. Omari is like a really black name. Jeff is the whitest name out there.
But he goes by Jeff now. But I had a friend named Omari who was and is the best dancer I've ever met in my entire life.
Really?
Yes, and it's not even close. But he was really like, his brother kind of like pseudo acted as my manager for a while. His brother kind of pseudo acted as my manager for a while, and he was trying to figure out how to get me singing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, I just kind of picked up dancing with them. The gap was significant, but because him and I were boys, I got a lot of opportunities really quickly that I probably shouldn't have done. Like I danced halftime at a Mavericks game once.
Say word?
Yes. And it's one of those things is like, I tell people just to be like, hey, my dance resume is strangely long, but I didn't dance longer than a year and a half.
Wow.
It was just, he was getting thrown in front of everything. And it was kind of one of those, like, they needed another guy. And he taught me his signature move, which was bone breaking, which I will not do now because I can't anymore. But so honest to God, in a lot of dance spaces, especially back then, knowing how to bone break kind of was the difference between if people thought you were good or not. And so even if you couldn't really get down like that, you could do that. And like people were like, oh my gosh. So literally just, I got the solo in that part with him simply because of the fact that I knew how to bone break. Which again,
you don't have to explain what bone breaking is for those ignorant people.
Literally, it's just me doing that, and both my arms go over my head, because my shoulder will rotate. He's double jointed. I'm not, and I'm gonna need shoulder surgery one day. So that's why I say I cannot do it anymore. It used to be, and I remember one time I was at a wedding like 4 or 5 years ago. I pulled it out. I got the reaction I wanted, but I was out for a while. I could never, ever do that again because I wasn't double jointed. And there was a point where like trying to get myself out of learning, I was in a sling and everything. But again, it was just, I had to figure it out, and I did. So I'm happy about that. That's about it.
Love it. I love this podcast because one of two things. It helps people, but also I learn things about my friends where I don't ever get to like ask them, like, tell me your life. Tell me everything about you. No, but here I can just be like, tell me everything. I want to know it all. That's cool, man. Double jointed dancer. What else do you do? Why are you not a comedian, man? You're so funny.
You know, if you want to be 100% honest, it's for two reasons. One, I respect comedy as an art form. Yep. And I just don't think I can pull together a good set. But the second half of it is totally contradicts that first part. Is I have wanted to just book a Arlington improv slot for the longest, to just see if I could. It's just one of those, like, I understand comedic timing. And it's literally just how I talk. Hold on. Cool. I'm getting a charger from on high. Thank you.
Ooh. Blessings to wifey.
Yes, please. Thank you. That's what I was typing earlier because my phone was on like 80%, and then now it's on like 10.
Dang.
But
thanks, Riverside.
Yeah, I just need to charge it before we go.
No, you're good.
But
the reason why I ask is I think you and Jason Talley would doing a show together.
Jason's
would
hilarious.
He's hilarious. That's why he was the first person on this podcast, because he's hilarious.
Yeah, him and I have a standing Saturday breakfast whenever he's not, busy being Jason Talley.
Of course, when he's not in Portugal photographing.
He's in Portugal right now. I texted somebody from the Reina team and was like, "Give me Jason back. I need him now." Baby, still in the pot. From there, that's my guy. Jason, actually somebody I can gush about because he's the first person at social that just walked up to me and was like, "Hey, I don't know you. I'd like to though." And
that sounds like Jason.
It was at a time where I was kind of like, I was like literally after Stag, and I hadn't been on any real team yet. Like I was on the coffee team, but I wasn't on the worship team yet. So I didn't have like people I talked to afterwards. And I'm not very good at walking up to people. I'm great at like keeping conversation going. I'm actually really bad at starting conversation.
Really?
It's just one of these weird things. It's also because I'm always in my head. And I just think I'm annoying. So I just assume that people don't want to hear anything I got to say. And I do ramble. But I will keep a conversation going. Like I love to talk, but also I grew up talking too much, and I had to learn, there's a lot of value in there's a difference between the guy who like always has something to say. And there's a difference between there's a difference between the guy who always has something to say and the guy who only speaks when he has something to say. And that's kind of me, where it's just like with being a good talker, I wanted to learn how to be a great listener. So because when you want to be heard, like I do, I acknowledge that other people want that too. Yeah. So, and I am sometimes really bad at interrupting people and stuff like that. So in learning that, unfortunately, the dial back of that was like, I just don't approach people anymore because I wait for them to say they want to speak or they want to talk. I'm getting better at it and I'm learning. But it's definitely like, I'm still working on finding the middle ground.
For sure. I got you. But back to Jay, you were saying something about Jason.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. He just walked up to me and was like, I don't know you, but I'd like to. He said he was like editing a video and he knew me from the coffee team, and he was editing a video where he saw me do something for worship. And I guess he was like, I just want to get to know this guy a little bit more. And from there, honestly, like I was really apprehensive about like starting new friendships because I lost my mentor to COVID in 2021.
And I'm sorry.
Nah, it's okay. I promise I'm not trying to just, go bar for people I've lost, but it's just one of those. Sorry, why did I do this? But it's just one of those. This guy Darren was a big part of my life, and he was the first person who ever just poured into me without me ever having to do anything. And he was a big pillar of my life, and I just kind of with old people older than me that like want to get to know me, I just am always like thinking that they're, especially being in the music industry as long as I have, like everything's transactional, and I don't really want transactional friendships. If it builds naturally and we're doing something like this, that's great, and I love that. But like get to know, like say hi first, you know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
That's what he did. And I absolutely love that dude. And being able to like just have a time where we can sit down on Saturdays, get breakfast real quick, talk about our week has been very, very therapeutic for me. And I hope I'm doing a little bit of a service to him that he is doing to me.
I love that. He's probably one of my favorite people ever.
Yeah.
He's just, his kindness just, it knows no bounds. And it's really, it's weird because that's not common.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like someone goes out of their way to be like, hey, every time I see him, he's always like, hey, buddy, I love you. And I'm like, bro, I love you too. And I know he means it. And I'm like, but you can obviously feel it. It's the tension of feeling it. Like, okay, cool. Like this dude actually, if I need to rant about something, he's like, cool, tell me. I'm listening.
Yeah, and he'll let you rant, no judgment, no nothing, just an ear. And something he always says that I really appreciate is before he gives me any kind of advice, he always thanks me for telling him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where it's like he does it so much that I'm like, I really appreciate that. You know, he's as much of a talker as he is a listener, and I'm somebody who's trying to learn that. He's definitely somebody who's great to have around.
Of course. I fully agree. Everybody get yourself a Jason Talley in your life. And if you haven't heard episode 1 of this podcast, go listen to Jason Talley and then you'll just figure out and you'll see why we all love him so much.
No, for sure.
Absolutely. Dude, so tell me about like this journey through like the music industry. Like we were talking before the podcast started about you in a record label and you being on the Nuke in San Antonio, and which is weird.
Yeah. I have done some stuff. I'm bad. That's like my music career is one of the only things I'm really bad at talking about, but I'll give it a shot.
Why?
It's because it's been a lot of highs and lows, and unfortunately more lows than highs. And I'm still kind of in limbo right this minute. Music is hard to do and get done. And like the part I have been stuck at for a while is the release of music. And like I have a lot of songs in me that just have never seen the light of day. Even ones that are fully mixed, mastered, and recorded, which I'll get into. But it's been a lot of that. And again, losing Darren, my mentor at the time I did, at kind of a time where I kind of was being told who I was. And I kind of, the thing about me is I kind of already knew when I got into the industry, like who I wanted to be. And I didn't hold as stead to that as I wanted to. And it kind of went against for my detriment. And it's one of the things I'm learning. But I've had probably, I'd say at 26, probably I'm in my third iteration of my career. The first one was the first one was the first label I told you about, Prodigal. Nothing bad to say about the guys who ran it. Nothing bad to say really about a lot of the people I've worked with. It's just one of those, timing is everything when it comes to these things. And with Prodigal, they just were in a time in their lives where they wanted to do this thing. And I just believed in it way more than they did. And I'm very like, I won't get a manager these days because I've never had a manager that knows how to outwork me. And
wow.
And again, there was a point where they did, but I'm the guy, like I will play, like I will leave this podcast and go play a show like all night. And I love performing and being able to, especially with my music, but really with anything I can do. I do love the stage. I do love getting on stage and being able to facilitate moments for people and for myself. And a big thing was I was, trying to book a lot of shows, trying to do a lot of things. And I just kind of dove straight headfirst into that. And with Prodigal, they just didn't end up working out. And by the time that with when the two guys split up, the one I got left with was the one that worked really hard, but didn't work nearly as hard as the other guy. And he was in a place where he was trying to pass me off to somebody. And we kept trying to have different situations. There was this guy, they're not name drops, but like this guy named Austin Martin we tried to work with. This guy named Jimmy O out in Austin we tried to work with. And it was a lot of the same thing. It's like, Troy, I think you're a star. Let's do it. Photo shoot, nothing for 6 months. And, me hitting them up like, hey, what we doing? Hey, what we doing? Hey, what we doing? Not really understanding that, like, not even at the time understanding that, like, music is expensive to make. Like, if you don't got the stuff for it. And, trying to figure that out. But, like, no one was telling me that. So I'm just trying to do what I can. So, like, I think at this point I was like 18, 19. And I really was just going at it with everything I had. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of good there. And the big thing that I learned is, like, I played a lot of shows. I had a lot of highs and lows of like playing a show at House of Blues and it being like the best show of my life. And the next day playing at like a hole in the wall somewhere where no one's paying attention. And that was a lot of like, okay, I understand where I'm at. But again, where my mentor Darren came in is he had a band out here called D and She. And it was him, he was Darren, and then he was with his partner Chima. They made some of my favorite music they've just ever. And they obviously, because of Darren's passing, they split up and it didn't end up working out. But that was like watching them just go out, play shows, and then release whole albums and like, have album release parties. That was the dream for me. That's what I always wanted to do. And Darren really helped me. Like, Darren was the first person that was ever like, I'm gonna be honest, for a long time, if I had $1 in my pocket from music, it was because of him. And like, he taught me how to get paid. He taught me how to do basically everything. And that was right after I had left Prodigal. And I didn't really leave Prodigal. The one thing I will say is they set me up really well with like my publishing and different things like that. And they ended up just giving me the like passwords and everything like that. So I didn't really have to worry about a lot of that. They set up all that stuff that I just didn't know how to do. So I really appreciate, shout out Levi. But yeah, it was a lot of just figuring that out. And then COVID happens. I end up going to, I'll be honest, I signed an NDA that they are not going to sue me for. So, there's no way. So I'll say some stuff that I probably shouldn't, but I don't care. So
they're not going to hear it anyway. Yeah. I'm just kidding. They might. Yeah,
they might, but because they all follow me, and I love everybody over there. It was just one of those in a business sense, with just a lot of it didn't work out. So radio, if you see this, I do love you. And we can work together. You just got to give me the keys. So with that being said, is during COVID, really right before it, in like February of that year, right before everything kind of hit the fan, we really, I got connected to this guy named Radio Raheem out in Carrollton at this studio called Never Satisfied Studios. And it was a lot of fun. We honestly I just went over there every single day, and all we did was just record. We made some of, honestly, my favorite stuff I've ever even touched. But a lot of it was figuring out who I was as an artist, figuring out who I was then. I came in with a pretty good idea of what my vision was. And I've learned now that you can't be mad at people who don't understand the vision because God didn't give them that vision. You just got to kind of hope they want to go along with it.
Right.
And for me, I was very like what I am now, which is I wanted to make music that touched all corners of the world. And so my songwriting is my bread and butter with that, in the sense of I felt like I could write anything for anybody. I can write a love song one day, and I could write a breakup song the next, and I could write a worship song right after that. And I think all of that, not on the same album, but like you can put out like, separate projects. It's like, this is clearly what this is. This is clearly what this is. This is clearly what this is. And it touches different parts of the world, but it's all under the same umbrella. Yeah. I maybe just explained it too eclectically, and he was very like, okay, we need to dial you in. We need to, figure you out. And it was a great time of like, I didn't really know how to like, record on a mic, record with headphones on, like be able to make my singing voice, playing so many shows. You forget that the voice you're projecting out to a crowd is not the voice that you're like putting on onto a record. And I didn't know that at the time. And so I got to learn a lot of those things through that. And it was a lot of fun there. But once I had figured that part out, there was a lot of just, for lack of a better term, dragging of feet. And I didn't enjoy at all it really got to a point where I was only making products. I made songs that were good, but they weren't like something I put my name on. And it was because it was like, okay, let's try this. Okay, let's try this. And then we would try something that I actually would really like. And I would kind of delve that more into what my overall sound ended up being and what it is now. But it was just one of those, like, I just felt like I kept proving myself. Not even just that I kept having to prove myself. I would literally physically prove myself. And then it would still be, nah, that's not what we're going to do. Yeah. And it wasn't until I wrote this song called Blind. And it was actually the first song we wrote for the entire 3 years I was there. First song we wrote. Wow. And I kept going back to it because of what he said when I put it out, when I wanted to put it out, which was, I can see somebody who's already big blowing up with, doing really well with this, but I can't see somebody who's not blowing up with this. And it was just like, okay. And he would really talk about like finding your edge. And he's like, we got to figure out what your edge is. And I realized like the edge is me, like, and like, Troy I would tell people all the time, and that's kind of what I say now, is like, I'm Troy Grant. I have absolutely positively no idea what that means, but I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah. And that was kind of a big thing that helped me figure it out. But we weren't seeing eye to eye when it came to a lot of stuff, and some other stuff that happened, some financial stuff. I kind of put myself in a hole doing a lot of that stuff. Sure. And truthfully speaking, I wasn't being a great husband. My wife was being awesome, but like I was, she was always, and still to this day, is like, she down for the dream, but it got to make sense. And I just, being a young husband at the time, not really understand. Actually, we weren't even married. We were just engaged. Yeah. Is not really even understanding, like, she sees things I don't see, which is like me putting so much into this and getting nothing back. And then me just keep saying like, babe, come on. It's going to work. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. And because of how, honest to God, great the songs were, I was like, yo, like, this is the fruit. But the fruit that, like, honestly, the songs were the seed. And I didn't really realize that because we never planted them. And so I just thought they were the fruit. And because of that, I had to step away. Ended up going into the job I have now, and kind of just like going straight forward with that. It was never a moment of like, I'm going to quit or I'm not going to do this anymore. But it was like, I was so burnt out from all these past situations of like, let's make this happen. Let's do this thing. And it's just not working out. And
isn't it weird that you're just having someone tell you who you know that you are? That to me would be like the really sucky part of being even a creative, even an artist, like drawing, like a commission, like you're telling me how to be me. And that sucks.
Yeah. And because of my own identity issues, identity crisis at the time, I just would let it happen. And but that being said, the engineer I worked with and the producer I worked with, because that's who I was working with, right? Like, the head honcho, he in the office, he making other moves happen, and he was doing his thing. And he's again, I want to say another thing is when me and my wife got in that financial situation, he put us up in one of his condos, and he didn't need to do that. So It was one of those, like, from a business perspective, we never saw eye to eye, but that's like family to me still. And again, radio, you've seen this. let's work together. Just give me the keys. But it's just one of those things where we could never see eye to eye on like what the vision for me was. And it was because of the fact that I had the vision and he would always call it direction. And it was like, no, it's bigger than that. Like it's a vision. And for me, I'll go ahead and say is I always said is like, I do, I especially now at that time, I was definitely running away from even the concept of being able to make worship music in the future. Because of the fact that I loved the idea of being able to pray for somebody at like a Troy Grant show that wasn't there because they knew God, or because, you go to a Chandler Moore show, you kind of know what you're getting into. And with me, it was like, I loved the idea and I still stand on this idea of like, I'm at a meet and greet and a girl is like, I'm going through something. And I stop the meet and greet to go, hey, let's pray. And I see the benefit of being able to do that with like genre bending music as opposed to just genre focused music. And I still very much believe in that. Now it's like whatever it is I'm down to do. As long as I prayed over and me and got good with it, if my name's on it, I'm cool. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And it took a while to get there. And I think that's part of the journey. But at this exact moment, I still am just now, like, I think I have a session booked for Monday. I have a session booked for like next Monday where it's like, I'm finally getting back to like making music again. But it took a long time to, thank you. It took a long time to even get to that point. And even that I've started, studio sessions and getting in with people. And there's been like little sprinkles of like, I'll get in the studio and I'm gonna be honest, we wrote this song for social worship one time that like PK's hinted at a couple times, like here and there. And I wrote it with, I don't want to miss anybody, but I think it was Ariana Cat, Adrian, Mike, the drummer. And I feel like there was one other person there, but it might've just been me. And we wrote this song that like, it was one of those, like, that's a lot of fun. And I love being able to just get in writing sessions, make cool stuff. And, the cool thing about music is like getting in a room and this thing we made, we walked into this room and this thing didn't exist a couple hours ago. Yeah. And that is always going to be the coolest thing. And I still just haven't gotten to the point where the world gets to experience that. And I do think it's coming. But yeah, that's kind of my journey up to this point. I've done a lot of really cool stuff in between, before and after, but right at this moment, it's still figuring out what the next phase of my career is.
Where do you want to go? Like, what's the end all be all dream? Because I mean, like, if you're sitting on music, why are you not releasing it?
Oh, so what happened with that is the producer I did all of my stuff with ended up getting signed to that label. I never signed anything. So, but those recordings are so good that I'm willing to just wait for him to be not in that deal anymore, which I think he's not actually. But
you have to wait. That's weird. See, the music industry is weird. Why do you have to wait for somebody to get out of a deal for something that they didn't create while they were under a deal for you?
That is a phenomenal question. And honest to God, I don't think it's even one of those things where, like, truthfully speaking, I actually don't think it's one of those things where I can't just release it. But there's just way too many things at play and I don't want to poke certain bears. I do. And it just hasn't been, I don't think it's time just yet. I think the time is coming. And I think I had to just figure out more who I am and figure out more what my sound is. Yeah. And but I got so much music, but the problem is like a lot of it is just, it still lives with me and my guitar. Some of it is recorded, but some of my best stuff I've never even I never even put into the ether over there simply because I just didn't think it would go well. And I didn't want to put all my work and effort into a piece of work like that wouldn't see the light of day. And it's really hard, like getting into the ebbs and flows of making a record and, you know, it never coming out. And again, that part of it got really jading, like, and I kind of just got sick of it. And so I never really did it anymore. Yeah. And now I'm in a place where I would love to release a lot of that old stuff, touch up a lot of it because it is still 5 years old.
Sure.
But yeah, one day that day's coming. But again, that's kind of where I get to the music's expensive to make. And to make it in the quality I want to make it is extremely like expensive, taxing, and it kind of just takes a guy like that from that situation to kind of be like, oh, I believe in this. Let's make this happen sometimes.
Now, you know what I'm going to tell you? I'm going to tell you where you need to go. You need to go see Gino. Gino Stevenson?
No, that's not the camera guy.
He used to play keys at Social with Barrett. Yeah.
Oh, Gino. Yes.
Yeah. You need to go see Gino.
What's funny is I was obsessed when I was not on the team. I was obsessed with him, like just watching him play, watching him do his thing. And I remember telling him one time, I finally have him on Facebook now. I remember telling him one time before I ever got on worship team, like I wasn't even close. And I said, hey, that's like really funny that you just said that. Because I remember saying to him, hey, one day when we're on the same team together, I'm going to bother you a lot. Like I'm just with questions and stuff like that. But now he's, I see he comes around every now and then, but I don't really see him that much.
No, I'm telling you that we were supposed to do a podcast and he had to go out of town. That guy, Gino Stevenson, is by far one of the most talented and creative people I've ever met. And you know him too, but this is just for the people. Mm-hmm. But he has a story, and it's like his like testimony story. When he was younger, I'm going to do a really bad job of saying it. When he was younger, he was in church and a woman told him from the pulpit, told him that no matter what he does in life, anything he puts his hand on, he's going to excel and he's going to immediately, like it's going to be blown up. So he plays keys, he plays bass, he plays drums. He tattoos, like if you see his whole leg, both legs, he's tattooed both his legs. He has a tattoo studio. He's a barber. I don't know, dude, he takes pictures. Gino, anything that has to do with hands, that dude murks it.
Gotcha.
So he just released an EP, like of him just playing like jazzy piano music. Dude, I'm telling you, like you need to reach out to him and be like, cause he has all that stuff in his house and he records all of it. And he made his entire new EP in his house. So I'm like, yo, what's stopping you? Cause one, you already know him, but one, what's stopping him from reaching out and going, hey, I want to make my dreams come true. I have the connects. And I have other connections that I can partner you with. Not saying like, not trying to name drop, but I know people. If that's what you want to do, just because my thing is I'm really big on wanting people to, find their creative passion and then go for it and do it because you were put on this planet to do something. Why not just go ahead and do it? Especially if there's somebody who knows people. And that's one thing I hate is everybody gatekeeps. They're like, oh no, I'm just gonna like not do this. I'm just gonna let them figure it out on their own. No, like that's what this podcast is for. Like, don't figure it out on your own. Use people's stories and their wisdom and their knowledge to be able to go, okay, cool. Let me think about it from a different perspective. We worked with somebody. They were like, oh no, like we don't see eye to eye. Cool. Let me find somebody else who I'm not asking for their visionary opinion. I just want somebody who's really dope at producing to just produce what I want to make so that I can release my stuff into the world. And God goes, cool. I'm going to bless that because I'm going with you wherever you go. Because again, like, you know, wherever you decide to go, God's going. Yeah. Unless he expressly tells you, stop, don't do that. But like, if he's like, yo, Troy, I want you to release all your songs, everything you got, whether it's good, bad, and different, drop it. I'm going to be here with you. We can touch it up later. Or I want you to give it to somebody else and let them sing it. Whatever.
Yeah. And
that's my suggestion.
Yeah, I'm going to take it. But yeah, I wish I could say that I knew where to start when it comes to stuff like that. And that's a phenomenal starting point. And that's why I appreciate you throwing that out. Yeah. That's kind of been where I've been for a while. It's just like, I have no idea what's next, because hilarious enough, because I've been doing this since my mom passed, since I was 14, I just feel like I've done it all. And I also have not scratched the surface at all. And being in between those two feelings at any given moment is kind of one of those things where it's like, I do get to a point where I doubt if I even have something to say. And I know I do. And of course, I just need to get back to that. And that's kind of just where I'm at, like, in my career right now, and where I want to kind of keep bringing it to is like, I want to be able to do what my original vision, my original goal was, which is to touch all corners of the world. And like, yes, a big thing radio said is like, just make music for these people over here, these people over here. And I was like, nah, I want to make music for everybody. And that's kind of where I'm at. And, I want to dial that in to where it's not as eclectic as it sounds. But even if it is, screw it. Like,
I mean, dude, when you can be, this is a really churchy phrase for all the church people, when you can be in the world, but not of it, that's like the best place to be. Cause you can, on one hand, you can have like a Monday night show, I don't know, at Opening Bell Coffee Shop. You can have an Opening Bell show Monday, play some acoustic, whatever. What's the word? Alternative music.
Yeah.
Then comes Saturday, you can have a worship set at, I don't know, Trinity. You can have a Trinity worship ceremony. Like, you're just like, oh my God, I'm in the presence of God. I mean, you can do both. No one's capping you, saying you have to do one. And the people that tell you to do one, screw them. Like, I don't have to. God gave me talent to just be able to be everywhere, touch, do what you felt in your heart, in your soul, that's your why, is to go out and touch every part of the world with your voice. That's you. That's who you are. That's who you're called to be. Be that. Like, don't forfeit that dream for anybody. Be
and
you.
I think I let go of that for a while. And I'm just now, like, even being on this pod is like, I was at a point where I almost said no, because I was like, my career's too in limbo right now for me to like feel like I have anything to say or anything to offer. But honestly, hilariously enough, this pod has been like super healing even to me. Like in this exact moment where it's like, okay, no, your voice does mean something, and even the parts that you think don't mean anything, even if it means something to one person, or what you said in the beginning is that's meaningful. And I just got, again, just jaded by the like feeling like I was always put in a freaking spin cycle dryer. And it just, again, having to consistently prove myself in those situations where I would meet the occasion and the goalpost would just get moved. And so that just didn't make me ever feel confident in who I was and what I was doing, because of the fact that, I would kill it. Like, I would do really well. And I never had an ego about it, because again, I'm the guy, like, the second I hop off stage, I want you to hop up there and I want you to blow me out of the water. You might not, but I hope you do. like,
of course,
little bit there, but like, it's just like, I really, really genuinely hope you do, because again, I think success, I don't think God is slim pickings, for, people when it comes to opportunity and, success and different things of that nature. It just, sometimes it's not always your time to be up front. And as long as you can understand that and be able to walk in that and just keep yourself in the stay ready group. I You know who Lonnie Walker is, the basketball player?
Yep.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, right? Darvin Ham was a terrible coach for the Lakers, and it was hard watching him every day. But Lonnie Walker is actually a story I use a lot because I remember it was either game 3 or game 4 of the playoffs, Lakers versus Golden State of a couple years back. Mm-hmm. So it was the year that they got that the Lakers made the conference finals against the Nuggets. It was the year the Nuggets. And I remember when they were playing Golden State, they were down, and they were like down in the second quarter. And after Lonnie Walker started the whole first half of the season, got randomly benched, not even injured, just benched. Yep. Like, wasn't even playing bad, playing fine. Got randomly benched because Darvin Ham is Darvin Ham. And randomly because he realized he needed nobody was giving him any kind of offense, and they were playing Steph Curry. They just threw him in. It was like game 3 or 4. And I'll never forget because he scored 19 points in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And brought it home and won. And I stand on just being Lonnie Walker all the time. Like, I just want to be like Lonnie Walker, where it's like, yes, you can bench me, and that's fine. I'm still going to hype my guys up. I'm still going to do my thing, and I'm going to still prepare my stuff, and I'm going to stay in the stay ready group. But just know, when I get up there, I'm torching you. And that's kind of just where I'm at with like my career is just really anything I do. Literally every single thing I do at this moment, where it's just like, I have no problem being the last guy on the bench or the first guy bringing the ball up. And I think through just being forced into those positions, but I think that I can look back, and one thing I do thank God for always is perspective, to be able to step back and go, okay, that's why this is taking this long. That's why this is happening like this, because old me couldn't have handled this. And my brain, how it's wired now, again, just being in those situations is put me in a place where it's like, I can be player 1 or I can be player 2. Player 2 is not that different from player 1. Mm-hmm. But if at any point the guy who's playing player 1 gets up and decides he wants to go do something else, you can pick up the controller and you know what to do because you've been playing a good player 2 this whole time.
Yeah.
And that mentality is kind of what just keeps me going in basically everything I do.
Be a Lonnie Walker, everybody. Be a Lonnie Walker. I don't think I would ever have heard that except in talking to you. Be a Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, I was a Spurs fan, so like I followed him from there. But yeah, like that's kind of where I'm at with, was like, be a Lonnie Walker. Another good example is Austin Reeves. Like, he's doing great this season, and he got benched last season because Darvin Ham is Darvin Ham.
He's a terrible coach.
Yeah,
thank God for JJ Redick.
My little brother calls, just he always just walks around with his hands in his pockets, and he's like, Darvin Ham, just hands in pockets. Darvin Ham. He's like, hands in pockets. That's how I feel. But yes, thank God for JJ Redick.
Oh man, that's hilarious. He said, I'm a Darvin Ham. Yeah. That's hilarious.
If I'm ever standing around with my hands in my pockets, he would literally just go, you're Darvin Ham. And I'm just like, stop.
Dang. I never knew Darvin Ham would be such an insult.
It is. It is. Don't, like, you call me that, you might as well have cussed me out. Like, right.
Dang. Don't be a Darvin Ham. The great Tim Ross says, if you have to do it. If you're do it brave and do it scared. So I'm going to say that to you. Do it brave, do it scared, release the music. Just do it. Do it brave, do it scared. Let's wrap this thing up, dude. You have been phenomenal and inspirational, and you have dropped, like, just been super vulnerable. And I want to say thank you, because like, you're telling me parts of you that I don't think I've ever heard or would have not known, because like, we don't get to interact for like an hour and 15 minutes consistently every week. And I just got to say thank you. And for one, I'm proud of you, like super proud of you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
And I really want I really want to hear your music just because selfishly I want to hear it. But realistically,
as soon as we get off, I'll send you a couple things.
I think the world needs to hear what you have to, because I mean, again, you have something to say, and the pain that you went through from losing your mom and then the relationship with your dad and how that changed, and now having like his stepmom and his new wife and more, all of that, everything that's happened from the highs to the lows and more lows than highs, like all of that, there's pain in that story, but that pain needs to be heard by somebody. I mean, it's heard here, but someone else who needs to reciprocally feel that pain and go, you know what? He went through it. I can deal with it too.
And that's the goal.
That's the goal. That's why I said that when we started the podcast, you never know how your story impacts someone else's journey. You never know. But
hey man, I really genuinely, it is an honor to just have been able to sit down with you, talk with you, share my story, because I did get to a point where I didn't think it was even a little bit worth telling, and just your ability to listen, to speak. I really I just pray that I am, that I get to come on this podcast when it's too big. Let me come back. Let me come back and get some clout on the back end.
Do it. Dude, there's a handful of people that I tell afterwards. I'm like, yo, no matter what. And so far it's been you, Hector Cifuentes, Jason, Jesselyn, my friend Courtney. Dude, y'all are amazing people at just on a human being level. Y'all can come back anytime you want. If I ain't got nobody, I'm going to be like, hey, I want to talk to you some more. I want to hear more stories, because again, I know people hate long form content because our brains are so dialed into this YouTube short, Instagram reel kind of 30-second.
I love long form content. That's all I watch.
See? Okay, cool. I like long form content too, but sometimes some people don't. Mm-hmm. But I think I think in order to really truly understand people, you can't get that in 30 seconds or a minute, not even 15, 20, 30 minutes. It takes an hour to just even crack this shell on who somebody is. Mm-hmm. But then you're like, man, I could honestly spend hours doing this, 3 hours, but I know that someone's gonna be like, dude, that's a lot. My sister tells me, she's like, your podcasts are a lot. I'm driving and I'm doing 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. And it's just it's too much. She's like, shorten it. I'm like, no, I don't get to know people that's short in 30 minutes. But dude, I'm grateful and thankful that you were here. You were vulnerable and shared your story. And I wish you the best of luck. And if I can do anything to help you on this journey, you already know it's already done.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Same to you. Genuinely had a blast. I've been looking forward to this all day. So
dude,
I really
me too. Dude, because I was going to ask you weeks ago, but since I get to stack the episodes up, I'm like, oh no, I had already recorded a bunch. I'm like, nah, because it'll be 2 months before. If I would have done it back, it would have been 2 months, and you would have forgot it. But then I don't know, maybe then you'd be like, oh, I get to listen to it again. But I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, either way. Anyway, if the people want to follow you, support your journey, support you in any way, shape, form, how do they get a hold of you on the social medias, or I don't know what all you got going on?
Yeah, I make it super easy. Every single thing you can possibly look me up. Troy Grant Music. I'm the only Troy Grant doing music. So,
are you really?
Yeah. I locked up. I've had all of those handles locked up for 10 plus years. So, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere. Troy Grant Music.
Man, Twitter. Can't really.
Actually, not Twitter, because I deleted it when it became X, so I don't have it. Yeah, and also High School Troy might be on there. I wasn't too bad, but
High School Musical Troy.
I wouldn't go on there. I wouldn't go on there, but
no.
most everything, literally everything, Troy Grant Music, and also any of my music that's out, Troy Grant. So yeah.
No website. Spotify?
No. Spotify, yeah, for sure. Troy Grant. But yeah, no website or anything. I had a dude working on it and paid him and never heard back.
Dang.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
That was years ago.
Dang.
One day.
That sounds about right, though. That sounds about right.
Hey, bro, I got you. I'm gonna show you this. Never mind. I'm not about to.
That's
Mike,
why you got.
What's up?
I love how we just calling folks out. Yeah, Mike, give me my money. Run me my money, Mike. Run Troy his money, son.
Every now and then, actually, like one time he came into my shop. This was years ago. He came to my shop like to eat, and I was like, "What's up?" And he never came back. But that's it.
Bro, how evil do you have to be to know that you screwed somebody out of some money? Come see them, not even acknowledge the presence, not give them the money back.
I don't work at a cheap coffee shop either, so I knew he got it. I know he got it. Like, bro, if I'm behind the bar working the bar, that means I need the money I just gave you.
Dang.
And he didn't tip. Anyway.
Dang.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hey, tip your people. Tip your baristas, everybody, because tips are now not taxable.
I guess.
What you mean? You guess? Nah, that's what old Father Trump said.
Oh, Donnie.
Oh, Donnie
said that. I don't know. I
that was one of
him out.
That was one of his executive orders. He was like, "Hey, everybody, guys, no more tax on tips. No more tax."
Well, my wife's a server, so turn up if that's rude.
Yep, and no more. He signed no more tax on overtime.
Oh, yeah, my boss not gonna give me OT, but
dang,
for next time.
But tips, like, come on, yeah, come through. Tip your people. Also, sorry, I know we need to wrap this up, but why can't we just? This reminds me of my old podcast. It was called the Random Thoughts Hour. You'll never be able to find it. Why don't we just include tip like Europe? Like, include it in the price. Give people a livable wage.
Yeah, that is a novel concept that only makes sense to very few. And,
yeah. How is Europe doing something better than America?
Yeah, like, I mean, the Queen's gone.
Universal basic health care, livable wages.
We used to be dope. we used to be so dope. And we still are in some ways. But I miss
America. #America.
Have you ever seen this is the last thing I'll say before we wrap up. Have you ever seen the SNL sketch where they're like, so come back, Barack?
No. What?
Oh, we sent it to you. It's the absolute funniest thing. They're like singing like they're the 5 heartbeats or something. And it's and they're singing like the Temptations or something, and they're just like singing. I think the song goes like, "Even though it's not allowed, we want you back somehow." And he's like, "Really bad." Like, it's easily the funniest thing.
That's hilarious. You know what? I don't care who's president. I just want more money in my pocket.
Absolutely.
That's it. I don't care about politics.
I don't care about none of that. Just
run me my money.
Let me go get some eggs. That's all.
Yeah. Gotta buy some chickens now. Anyway.
Nah, for sure.
No, facts. Anyway. All right, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this. Everybody go follow Troy Grant Music on everything. And his new album, Troy Grant Presents, will be out on Spotify and Apple Music in 2026. We're saying it in Jesus' name.
We're speaking it. It's happening.
Faithfully. Done. All right, cool. All right. Bye, everybody. Peace. See you next week.
Yes, sir.